were sharp, Corvo. But somehow you managed to get through all this mess without losing sight of what really matters. For that, I respect you. The city's gonna pull itself up, I believe. Too many good people here to let it all turn to ashes. I'd best be going. The battlefield's no place for an old sailor like me. That time is long past. Good luck, my friend.
In our last video, we listed out 10 of the most iconic video game weapons. Each of these weapons were more than capable of helping you slay demons, rescue the princess, save the world, or just look like an all-round badass. However, sometimes in games you don't want to go in all guns blazing. Sometimes you want to go about your business within the world without ever having taken up arms. Welcome back to Game Gentleman. This week we're looking at 10 games that can be played in a pacifist run. For those unfamiliar with the term, a pacifist run is where a player will choose to take the non-violent approach in a video game, opting not to kill any enemies. There are games which allow you to opt for stealth during gameplay, but then demand a character or enemy death, most often during boss fights. However, for this list we've tried to focus on the games which allow for a true pacifist run, completing the game and even overcoming those bosses using non-lethal means. Before we get started, if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe to our channel, and turn on notifications so you never miss an update. Number 10. Super Smash Bros. When picking a list of games that you can achieve a pacifist run, a fighting game is probably the last thing you think of. However, this Nintendo title does in fact have a bonus called Pacifist, which rewards players for clearing a stage without even attempting to attack. Super Smash Bros. Melee continues this tradition, taking things a step further by also including a bonus called Switzerland, which requires the player to not only not attack their opponent, but also to not be attacked, as well as an achievement called Peaceful Warrior, which allows the player to attack their opponent but not to KO them. Of course, it would be incredibly difficult to complete Super Smash Bros. Using this method, but with the various hazards laid out in each stage, it couldn't be ruled out as impossible. Number 9. Silent Hill Downpour. The Silent Hill series has often played with different endings based on player actions throughout the game, and the 8th entry in the series, Silent Hill Downpour, is no different. In order to redeem your character and achieve the game's best ending, you are required not to kill a single enemy. Now, being that this is survival horror and you're meant to feel a sense of dread and impending doom throughout the entire game, a lot of your enemies are very persistent. Downpour is generous enough to allow you to incapacitate your enemies, leaving them on the ground and twitching, but a single death will ruin that perfect pacifist run. Number 8. Deus Ex Mankind Divided. While the Deus Ex franchise at large is known for allowing players to avoid direct and lethal conflict through various methods such as non-lethal takedowns, gas grenades, tranquilizers, and multiple augmentations that support the playstyle, we're going to focus on the most recent entry in the franchise, Mankind Divided. The reason for this is while much of Mankind Divided's gameplay follows in the footsteps of Deus Ex Human Revolution, it fixes one of the major gripes that many people had with that title. You see, while you could play Human Revolution as a pacifist for the most part, the game was built in a way that all the boss encounters gave you no choice but to go lethal. Mankind Divided would address this complaint by allowing players to once again complete the game in a true pacifist run, providing ways to take down all bosses and even the game's main antagonist using non-lethal means. Number 7. SWAT series. While situations which call for SWAT to be called in aren't generally associated with peaceful resolution, things tend to go a lot smoother when no shots need to be fired. In the SWAT series, players must command a team of SWAT agents through various high-pressure hostage situations. Throughout these situations, players are capable of, and encouraged, to challenge the hostage takers into surrendering before acting. Additionally, they can incapacitate them with an arsenal of rubber bullets, flashbangs, and gas grenades to avoid any casualties. This playstyle has the additional benefit of reducing the risk of hostages being caught in the crossfire, allowing players to go for a perfect score. We must also give a bonus mention to Payday here, which focuses on a group of bank robbers and feels like it's on the opposite end of the narrative spectrum to the SWAT titles. While Payday doesn't have a full Pacifist Run objective, it does have a special achievement for completing the counterfeit heist mission in particular without killing a single civilian or police officer. Number 6. Metal Gear Solid 4. The Metal Gear series has progressively moved towards a true pacifist mechanic since the 1998 PlayStation 1 title. In that game, players could knock out unsuspecting guards rather than killing them, however, each boss encounter would force Snake to kill. Metal Gear Solid 2 gave players non-lethal firepower with the addition of a tranquilizer gun, however, again, 2 of the game's bosses still had to be killed in order to progress the story. Metal Gear Solid 3 came incredibly close to a full pacifist run, allowing players to go through the entirety of the game without killing, however, your final confrontation with the boss would always end with you killing her, even if you fought using non-lethal means. Metal Gear Solid 4 finally cracked the code, becoming the first game in the franchise to allow a complete pacifist playthrough with no forced kills whatsoever, unlocking an alternate ending for your troubles. Number 5. Mirror's Edge. The futuristic first-person parkour simulation sees you traverse rooftops with speed, grace, and ease. Playing as Faith, a runner who uses her free-running skills to courier messages around the cityscape, your sister is framed for murder, and you must do whatever it takes to clear her name, including finding yourself on the wrong side of the law. Unlike so many first-person titles of its time, Mirror's Edge was not shooter-based, and allowed players to approach combat encounters with police and security officers in a completely non-lethal way. Of course, you could disarm them and use their own weapons against them, or launch them off the rooftop to their doom, but the much more satisfying and canonically likely scenario saw Faith using her parkour skills and some martial arts to knock out her enemies in hand-to-hand combat, leaving them no doubt bruised and beaten, but not dead. Number 4. Watch Dogs 2. The open-world hacking series got off on the wrong foot with a far too serious tone and bland protagonist Aiden Pierce. Given his motivation was to bring the people responsible for the death of his niece to justice, things escalate pretty quickly from hacking traffic lights to taking down an entire army of goons with an automatic assault rifle. Watch Dogs 2 corrected course with a much lighter tone, a brighter environment, and more non-lethal ways to play, including drones, spider bots, taser guns, and Marcus's trusty melee weapon. It's entirely possible to play through Watch Dogs 2 without killing a single person, which feels much more in keeping with the overall narrative. Number 3. Dishonored. In Dishonored, players take control of royal bodyguard Corvo Attano, who is set up to take the fall for the assassination of Empress Jessamine Caldwin during a conspiratorial coup. Corvo must work his way through the city of Dunwall, unravelling the web of conspirators in an effort to clear his name. Given a set of very handy powers from the mysterious outsider, Corvo becomes a one-man killing machine, with the ability to possess enemies, summon a swarm of rats, teleport around the environment to get the drop on a target, and an arsenal of lethal weapons. A high chaos playthrough of Dishonored is a very fun way to play. However, a much more measured and methodical approach is possible. The world of Dishonored is designed in such a way that players can complete their objectives without being seen, nor killing a single soul. Each of the game's missions even has a non-lethal way of dispatching your key targets using some means which we'd argue are a fate worse than death. Not only are achievements tied to this playstyle, but the game also actively and narratively encourages you to do so, with a high chaos playthrough of the game making things harder, with the city's plagues of rats and weepers increasing as the story progresses. Number 2. Thief. The original Thief was the first 3D stealth title for the PC, and it clearly inspired many games in the genre, including some on this list. Actively encouraging players not to kill, Thief is about successfully sneaking around, avoiding detection, stealing as much as you possibly can from your rich targets, and getting out cleanly. Game protagonist Garrett is armed with a blackjack in the event he does need to take a guard down, but it should be considered as a last resort for players who are able to use a variety of skills and manipulate the environment around them to successfully sneak around levels. Number 1. Postal 2. A constant magnet for controversy and moral panic, the Postal titles were infamous for their violence and vulgarity, allowing players to kill their enemies and NPCs with an arsenal of weapons, setting them alight with petrol, using a cat as a silencer, and even urinating on anyone they wish. However, what many of those who were outraged by the game's premise did not know is that in Postal 2, it is entirely possible to complete the game without killing a single person, something that the developers at Running with Scissors were particularly proud of. Achieving this will reward players with the message, "Thank you for playing, Jesus." So it goes to show that just because you can kill everything in sight, it doesn't mean you have to. How do you prefer to play games like this? Are you the slow and stealthy type, or are you more of a shoot first and achieve mission objectives later kind of player? Let us know in the comments below. Be sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and share this with a friend who wouldn't hurt a fly. This has been GameGentleman, and thanks for watching.